The father of the man who shot his estranged wife, then turned the gun on himself, is breaking his silence tonight. Good evening to you. I'm Tricia Mackey.
And I'm Scott Schneider. Dennis Mathis is speaking only to FOX19 about his son DJ and the violent act he committed. Amy Wagner is live tonight with his emotional interview that you're only going to see on FOX19.
Yeah, DJ Mathis admits he almost called this interview off. Members of his family didn't want him to speak so publicly about his very private pain. But on his way to meet me, he says he stopped at DJ's grave and knew what he had to do. He is speaking out, trying to explain his son's mental illness, hoping it might help someone else.
To be honest, it's still a shock.
2 months to the day after Dennis Mathis buried his 32-year-old son DJ, he sifts through pictures, pointing out his favorites.
Here's one we always laughed at. That was when he first turned 16 and got his driver's license, and he was just so proud of his license.
But these aren't the pictures DJ Mathis will be remembered for. Instead, Mathis fears he'll be remembered for this.
Someone's shooting in our building downstairs. There's been gunshots and someone's screaming outside.
He wasn't that violent person up until that last day.
On August 6th, DJ Mathis chased his estranged wife, Alicia Waters, into the Fort Thomas office building where she worked. He shot her, first in her leg, 3 more times in the abdomen, and 1 final time in her neck. Then he turned the gun and fatally shot himself. At first, the Mathis family only knew that DJ shot Alicia and thought he'd been arrested.
It was probably several hours after I got the first call from my sister that 2 of my brothers came in and informed us that our son had passed away.
Since that day, Mathis spends his waking minutes dealing not only with the death of his son, but the final violent act that now defines him.
I can't defend what he did. There's no justification. And it was a very violent act, but it was a mental illness that caused all of this.
Mathis says Alicia Waters is a victim. The 31-year-old is now a quadriplegic, but Mathis believes she isn't a victim of domestic violence. He says she's a victim of his son's mental illness.
He had resistant depression. He was also diagnosed with OCD and anxiety attacks,
which DJ first started showing signs of in high school. Mathis says when he met Alicia after college, he seemed to get better for a while.
We were just thrilled for both of them. She made DJ so happy, he was just, he'd walk on cloud 9 some days, you know.
But even before they got married, DJ spent some time in a psychiatric ward.
He voluntarily went to the hospital. Alicia took him, and she called us and said, you know, they're going to keep DJ here for a couple hours or a couple days for some observation. So
Mathis says DJ's mental issues caused the couple to separate several times until earlier this year when Alicia left for good.
The last 4 months, like I said, that I spent so much time with him, and it just seemed to be getting worse. I was getting books out of the library and reading them and trying to find out what I could do to help him with his depression.
But Mathis says his son, the one he knows, the one in these pictures, was never violent. In fact, he says DJ's doctors all agree. Rather than violent tendencies, DJ's illness caused him to withdraw.
And he just go into this recluse into his bedroom and not want to come out.
Alicia did file for a domestic violence protection order in April. She was denied. According to the judge, there was no allegation of domestic violence.
What about threatening Alicia at any point during this? Did you ever see?
No, I never heard a threat.
And even the day before the shooting, when DJ purchased the gun he used to shoot Alicia and then himself, Mathis believes his son was still taking medication for his depression.
He was on medication?
Yes.
Do you know, was he taking the medication?
Yes. I feel very confident he was taking them.
Which is why this father now spends his days replaying his son's final day, wondering.
It continually goes through my head, you know, what if I'd done this or could I have done that?
And we have reached out to Alicia Waters' family for their comment on DJ Mathis' view that Alicia is the victim of DJ's mental illness and not domestic violence. They have not yet responded. The family, though, is petitioning to loosen Kentucky's requirements to get domestic violence orders. They believe if Alicia had been able to get one, DJ would have never been able to pass the background check necessary to purchase a gun. I'm Amy Wagner, Fox 19 Balance News.